Hi, it's been a minute. This is Stasiabliss. And, I used to really be on videos a lot. And if you check out my YouTube channel, I've got lots of videos for you I've made over the years. I don't have my old Facebook account, which I used to post daily videos because when the pandemic hit, I really felt like a huge energy hit, I guess is what I could say, that pushed me to pull away from social media and pull back into myself and into my family and go back and integrate a lot of old trauma wounds and heal some things and face some things and do a lot of family, I call family mandala work, but family healing work. Kitty cat, hey, come on, stay out here with mama. Come on. Come on, everyone's sleeping. Can you hear him back there just howling? I think he wants to go get a snack. But anyway, I wanted to jump on because the energies are very interesting right now, and they pushed me like they haven't pushed me in a while to get on here and say something to you all. So I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. The world energy at large, and also specifically the eclipse that's approaching, though even as I say that, it's like, well, it's a tiny and a big thing, so I'll get to that in a moment. So some of you may not know, but my specialty is the Kundalini awakening. That is my focus of study. Yoga and Tantra and meditation, some Ayurveda, and a lot of the Indian and Eastern philosophies. That's been my school of teaching. And I've gone through a series of my own personal awakening journeys and really learned a lot from and helped others with how that shows up physically and mentally and emotionally. And I've done a lot of work on both charting that and observing that and helping manage that. So I call myself a life force management specialist because it's a very tantric art, which tantra just means a mental, mind liberating practice to have shit come up, if you will, and figure out with your mind how to take it apart and transform it. So that's a lot of the work that I do individually with families and collectively. So right now I'm just seeing, especially since the pandemic, we've been in a massive collective Kundalini awakening. So if you're not really familiar with that process, you can check out some of my videos on YouTube. But in brief, a Kundalini awakening happens when the life force energy, which normally keeps us alive, running through our spine and dialed down into our body through the valves called the chakras. When we get an influx of that, and of course how tight the valves are depends on how much consciousness we're able to manage or how much life force we're able to manage, but it's really like how much our minds can handle, because too much too fast, and one does tend to go into a kind of psychotic state or a mental imbalance state. And so even in the process of bringing in more life force energy, the Kundalini awakening, even in that process, which is really the God force coming in, the spiritual essence, like the true force of you trying to embody on this plane of existence more and more, which is what the ascension process basically is. As it does is, if it's not regulating fast enough with your mind, you can't track it. And so even as the energy is coming in, your body's trying its best to manage all this new information. So my job is just to kind of make that easier, and because it already kind of made me almost lose it or go sideways for a long time, and track my way back, if you will. That's been my kind of internal journey, and how to like steer that ship back to straight into balance and to navigate through the crazy world that we live in with all of its ups and downs and stay like balanced and even keel no matter what. That's the blessing of life force management. And so there's a couple of things that can assist us in this process, and one of them I've gone greatly into. I have a whole 6-month Make Mantra Your Medicine course, but the power of mantra is unparalleled in creating your own vibrational sound chamber, if you will, for ascension. So what that means is that it helps to accelerate this process and help your body integrate it faster. So if you can integrate mantra practice into your life, oh, it will help so much. So mantra is an age-old ancient practice, largely practiced in India and Tibet, and but throughout traditions across the world. I mean, even the Gregorian monks, a cool story about them is they used to get up and chant right early in the morning, and you've heard the sound of that in the cathedrals, and it's simply heavenly. But after they decided to weed that out of their practices, they actually started being lazier and not being able to get up and having like more mood swings, and it just really affected the monks at the time. And so they reinstated the chanting, the Gregorian monk chanting, and it changed their behavior immediately. So, Kitty, are you needing water, honey? My cat needs a drink of water. So that's the second chakra thing. Second chakra is water. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about also, is when the Kundalini awakens, it's going from the root chakra, the location of that energy, when it's dormant or unawakened, as it tends to become after and during the process of going through puberty generally. This is when we kind of lose or sever that connection and begin to function in duality more through our teenage years, and that's why teenagers have a hard time generally. However, yoga does transform that and allow them to transition into puberty with much more ease, because they don't split that, and that makes them a much more cohesive human. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to say that the things that are happening in the world, especially in the Middle East right now, and we will see these around different places, because we have an individual Kundalini awakening, and as that happens, it moves from the first to the second, and it kind of stays there for a while, because those are the lower attitudes of this earth plane. So safety and security, money issues, basic survival, all that stuff is root chakra. And second chakra is our ancestral connection. So ancestral traumas, things that happened in the past to our ancestors, sexuality, creative energy, that's womb space, second chakra. So when those two centers begin to receive more life force, they cleanse, and they are cleansing the old stuff, the old paradigm, what that looked like. And by cleansing, that's a soft term for, we're going to see this stuff in the world. It's going to come out of our psyche. It comes out of our psyche. We are projecting it collectively as humans, because it's in our past, it's in our DNA, it's in our frequency field, if you will. And in order for us to express our full divine human selves and to ascend completely, which by the way doesn't mean go up, it means stay here and continue to hold more and more spiritual energy till we are aware of the largest version of ourselves as we can, reaching into the bliss body. And that's a unity field, that's seeing all as one, but maintaining this sense of density. That's what brings the power in. So as we're doing this, we have to integrate our past. We can't just throw it away. Healing is not like we cut it out and never existed. It happened as part of the evolutionary ripple, and we have to integrate it And the only way we can do that as a whole people is for us each individually to do it. That's it. So one person can change the world because as you integrate, you affect and you ripple out into your family. So as I was saying, during the pandemic, I pulled back. I got off social media. I started doing my inner work. I started like noticing where I had made rifts in my family unit. That's the number one place, like where I'd separated myself, where I'd backed up, where I'd said, you think this about me, therefore I got to go over here, or this happened and therefore we can't have a connection, or I'm running away from this because it feels toxic, or whatever it is. Those are the places that I had to go and reconnect, or places that I didn't even have a connection. I had to go and be like, hey, you're part of my family. You know, like I need to have a connection point to you. So that is the work of that time. And as I have come around to this point, just, 3, almost 4 years later, my reality is experiencing an upgrade. I'm experiencing a shift to some are talking about a bifurcation, and that's kind of what inspired me to get on here. Yeah, kind of, except for the two is really like the oneness and the two-ness. If you're functioning here and here, this is unity field, this chakra, this valve, and it's awareness of both. So duality happens below the third eye, right? And unity begins to happen here. Here we see the difference. We can see the duality. We can see the poles. We can be the observer, or we can be in the game. That's the duality. I can see that I'm in the game and I'm in the game. Okay, or you say like fully into duality is not even knowing that you're watching it, right? You're just completely absorbed. That's lower level. That's survival. That's familial. That's first and second chakra. Until you bring awareness to it, until it cleanses out, then it upgrades to that unity field can shine down. Once all the chakras are receiving Kundalini and they've blown out their stuff, you create a unity field. You've seen it in pictures as halos. It's not just around the head. It actually encompasses all of the chakras. And it is like a golden light. You are accessing the abundance field, if you will. It's a semi-permeable membrane, but you have like conscious awareness because your Krishna consciousness or your Christ consciousness has been activated. And you can hold that field. So then you can go back into the world like I'm coming back here to you and I'm holding frequency. It's very obvious to me when I go look at older videos, older than 4 years ago videos of me, like very like interesting, different vibes. Yeah, so anyway, I think this is a powerful time. Okay, so I did want to talk about the eclipses. Starting with this next one, a lot of people are migrating to Utah, and that's very close here to where I am, about 4.5 hours away, to see the Ring of Fire, which is happening. The Ring of Fire is very significant. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Yes, you hear women during the birthing process talk about transition as a ring of fire. It is a transition point. It is that. There is a little bit of, I don't want to put fear out there or like thought of danger, but let's just think of it this way. When that happens, it actually is a portal. It is a ring of fire. It is going to send a pulse of transition energy. So I think that's really good. I was filling it out before this video and was like, is this susceptible to use of dark forces? Of course, that's always true on certain planes of existence, but as I'm speaking right now, I'm really getting, this is a pulse of transition. This is a transition energy. the ring of fire is a birthing. So if you're in the site of that, you're particularly influenced, and you'll be carriers of that wave back to your families and your realities. Some of us are already in, or some of you are already in a transition, or you've been in one, and if it's like you could choose to go in and accelerate more by observing, or you can also, a raven just flew by, I'm connecting to that today. You can also use the Indian practice of mantra, as I was mentioning, or any of your spiritual practices, but mantra is particularly powerful. And sort of like think about the frequency that you want to enter, or it's almost like a mantra can give you like a key to a doorway to a version of reality during this time. Mantra and spiritual practice are worth 1,000 times, according to yogic tradition, Indian tradition, philosophy. So you chant 108, beads on a mala. Multiply that by 1,000 if you're doing it during an eclipse. So you have this eclipse window, but you also have like the day of the eclipse, but especially in that window, whatever practices you're doing for your ability to transition, for your ability to transform and move through this shift will be multiplied or accelerated. And also because mantra is interesting. It's like you earn the boon, is how they say it. You earn the boon because you chanted a certain number of times. So you like tick the dial a certain number of times inside yourself. Tick, 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 tick. And when you get to a certain number of tick, like 125,000 of a mantra, it's like in a video game, you get like the bars. So you get like the badge or whatever, like that energy is available to you. It's in your pack. So if you multiply that, it's like 1,000-time bonus day. Like if you're playing a video game and you want points, like are you gonna play on 1,000-time bonus day? Of course, of course you're gonna play. And if you don't, you're just gonna like, oh, that really is a bummer. Like you could have 1,000-time bonus day for your life. And so in the days preceding the eclipse, especially this one, and if you're in the window, but even if you're not, even if you're nowhere near it, the energy is still being blasted onto the planet, is available for you to tune into and tap into. And so I encourage you to do that in some way, even if it's like, I'm gonna meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for 10 minutes, and it's like meditate 10 minutes times 1,000. Okay, so that's really powerful. Use this energy in a beneficial way and not a manipulative way, because that has boomerang effects for you. So just a little warning there. If you're like, well, I want 1,000 times, like, send this guy bad juju, like, don't do it. Like the boomerang energy on the eclipse will not serve you. So utilize it for your strengthening, and it's also allowing your life force energy, your kundalini, to be activated to a higher degree. So really tuning into that. If you don't know what that means, you can use that period of time to also intend to more fully understand, and also watch some other videos, and maybe utilize a course that I've got, read an article. If you need help figuring out what that is, send me a message, stasiabliss@gmail.com. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week. It's an amazing energy to be with. I like to listen to the Leo King astrology sometimes, and right now he's talking about the energies of the planets. He's like the best astrologer I know. The planets are all sort of like at an edge. They're at an edge of turning or stopping or being at the last degree, and you'll have to get on his High Vibe TV to watch the specifics on that. That's all I'm going to say about that. And but on this edge, this is where I feel like the edge and the eclipse portal, and like what humanity is going through, and like how many of us can get on board with doing our best this week and that day, so as to move the collective, so as to feel the collective move forward. Because absolutely when the outer petals of the flower open, the inner ones get to. Let that hang with you. Okay, have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining me. It's not stopping. Go to my website, blissinthehouse.com. Visit a retreat.